Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have something very special. We have multiple different FTKs. We have an infinite heal. We have infinite monsters, infinite burn damage. This is probably one of the most broken things I've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! In a long time, and it all comes down to Morphtronic Telephon. Now, don't worry that we started out with 6 cards going first. I didn't use Upstart. I need another card to exist in the deck, but this is like the short, condensed version. You can play this in an actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. To get the actual extra summon, it requires a lot more steps. I'll explain it, but I wanted this little replay to play so you guys can see how it works. So, what it involves is Morphtronic Telephon. So, what this card does is you get to roll a 6-sided dice, you get to gain life points equal to the result times 100, then you can special summon a Morphtronic monster from your graveyard whose level is equal to or lower than the result. Now, because they did not make this a once per turn, you can infinitely Telephon infinitely, and if you're wondering, well, you gotta get 3 of them, don't worry, it's actually pretty consistent with some of the newer cards in the game, and I'll show you guys that in a second, but I just want this to like play out so you guys can see you can infinitely heal, you can infinitely do burn damage with Cannon Soldier, Amazoness Archer, there's probably other ones as well, and you can actually play through hand traps, but the thing to play through hand traps requires a lot more steps, because what you do is you make Bow of the Goddess. You can have infinite link monsters, you can have infinite burn damage, and infinite heal. I don't think we've seen this in a long time in Yu-Gi-Oh! So, now you guys have seen the FTK, I want to go into like more of a link-oriented play. So, one of the new cards, Dice Dungeon, allows you to have a lot more consistency with this combo. Obviously, Machine Dupe, if you have this is like an easy win condition for Morphtronics as well. You can also 1-for-1 with it. You can use a lot of different ways to actually pull off this combo. So, important thing, Dungeon Dice, it has the effect to add Dimension Dice. So, what does Dimension Dice do? If you control a card that requires a dice roll, which like Morphtronics almost, well, a lot of them do, you can attribute one monster to special summon one monster from your hand or deck that has a monster effect that requires a die roll. So, you can infinitely just special summon and Telephon. You have, again, Machine Dupe, you have 1-for-1, you can even Foolish it and then just activate the effect of a different Telephon and go for it. So this allows you to get one Telephon instantly. And on top of that, you can, again, search out a lot of the Morphtronic cards. They have pretty decent support as well. But this is a more extensive combo where it's like a more realistic duel, right? But if you do want to, I will explain how to like do the FTK in here as well. But it requires a lot more steps. So the thing that would be different from this version than I showed you before, you just make Bow of the Goddess. You have Bow of the Goddess to have 3-4 negations, and then remember, Link Kuriboh can actually be another disruption as well. So if your opponent like does something to one of them, you just tribute it, dodge it, still gets its effect, and then you'll be good to go. So you can play through multiple things. It goes through as many Link monsters as you want to. Remember, you have infinite monsters. Telephon is not once per turn. You just do Telephon into Telephon into Telephon, and then go for whatever you want. Make sure that you still have the ability to go for another Telephon eventually, if that makes any sense. So you have infinite monsters to cycle through, and you can do, every time you're doing this, by the way, you have infinite heals, which I'm sure there's some sort of like burn variant. Now, I don't know if this guy ran out of time over here. This was sent in, big shouts to my homie Core for sending this in. I think he played against this person and was like, what the heck is this, right? Where you can do Scythe combos, you can do a lot of different things with this deck. But now that you guys have seen it in action, I'll give you guys the deck profile of one of them. So let me go export this one. But again, you can run Cannon Soldier and the, if you want to, you can run Amazoness Archer. There's probably other heal variants, and this is just kind of the start to what seems like to be one of the more broken decks coming out into the game, and that's all due to simply Morphtronic Telephon. You also have Gadget Gamer. This lets you add one level 1 machine monster from your deck to your hand when you normal summon it, and then you can attribute it to summon a Morphtronic from your hand. So this lets you go ahead and just search out the card, and so that's how you have insane consistency with it. Now, if you do want to do the FTK variant of this, you can actually go for Saryuja. Oh, they're just having to draw 4. There's not very many cards. So Saryuja has this effect where once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon one monster in your hand. That's how the combo would actually go. If you want to do the full combo with the FTK, going through the Bow of the Goddess, and then you would make Saryuja to then get the, well, you'd go for, more than likely you'd go for Bow of the Goddess, and then at some point they would try to start negating, but yeah, you could just, again, during your main phase, special summon the monster, whatever card that you need to go for, but more likely Bow of the Goddess would stop any other hand traps. The only I think that would actually break this is maybe like a Nibiru, depending on when they activate it, but you can actually run other cards to bring just a level 1 monster back. There's tons of Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that let you just bring back a level 1 monster. There's also this card where if you control one, yeah, you just get to search out the card. So you can see this is all revolved around this. There's actually a Gizmo card too, but I won't go go too far into it, this is kind of like the introduction to like one of the most broken decks. Again, you have infinite heal, infinite burn, and you can go for infinite monsters, as you guys can see. But this is like just a, like you mentioned before, like an introduction to it. So there's probably lots of other ways to actually pull off a win condition with this more broken Morphtronic card, because they didn't make it a once per turn. Yeah, I think they oversaw that, and that's why every single Yu-Gi-Oh card has like a once per turn effect. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new and you want to see an update to this when we make it like even more powerful maybe in the future, subscribe, turn the bell, and I'll give you guys an update maybe with this. And if you guys have any cool ideas with this, definitely feel free to send me in via like DM on a Discord. I'm interested to see what other FTKs you can come up with, because I know that you can, if you infinitely heal, yeah, your opponent cannot win. You could probably pay, you could do a Winged Dragon of Raw, pay till you have 100 and then hit him for like 9999999. Like, it could be crazy. But anyways, I'm ranting on now. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.